Dear friends, welcome to this new episode of UFO Encounters in Italy. Well, you must know in Italy many people loves hiking on the mountains. We have the great and fantastic Alps and the even more mysterious and subtly mysterious Apennines and a bunch of other very nice mountains. The story I'm going to tell you tonight happened on the eastern part of Italy, in the region of Friuli, the most eastern part of the Italian Alps, especially in a region called Carnia. The Second World War had just ended a couple of years before. We are in summer 1947. And a professional painter, Professor Luigi Ioannis, was intentioned to have a nice hiking trip on the mountains of that region. That morning, he was just outside of the wood when climbing in an area, very desolated area, without any people around, of the mountain, he noticed a very strange object, sort of embedded between some rocks in the mountain. This is the shape of that strange device. It was not in horizontal position. Actually, it was like that. It was, vertical. And Luigi was still thinking what the hell that strange device could be, when he noticed what, at first sight, seemed to be two little, shepherds coming out of the wood and reaching him. But looking at them a bit better, he realized probably they were not shepherds. When he managed to see them properly, what he saw left him without breath. This is the identikit of the creatures, of the two creatures he saw. Sort of robot-like creatures. Very strange eyes. Very strange dress, a sort of plastic skin or something like that. These unusual hands with 8 fingers per each hand. And there is also another picture of the beings here, which really, here it is an extraterrestrial. This is the way it is described by people who saw them. This is the famous case of Rosa we talk about in another episode, and this is the case of Luigi Ioannis. He thought that according to him, these were not properly living creatures, living beings. They were sort of robot-like creatures. And he noticed that they breathed in a way like dogs, when dogs breathe in a frantic way, as the atmosphere was somehow disturbing them. They opened their mouths like fishes, in that strange way, and they stared at each other, Luigi and the two beings. They stared at each other for a couple of minutes. But Luigi was, of course, scared, but he was intentioned to try some sort of communication with these beings. because he realized these beings came from the device he saw in the mountain, and the device was there at his shoulders. So he was right in the middle between the beings and their craft. And when he talked to them, he had an axe. Probably he made some sudden movement with the axe, with his axe, his arm stock, asking, "Where are you from? What are you doing? Can I help?" But these beings, probably scared by him, touched their waist, somewhere on their waist, and a sort of ray of light, which in the beginning Luigi described just as a sort of poisonous whistle, poisonous gas, sounding like a whistle, came out from their waist, from their dress towards him, and he suddenly found himself confused, and he had to sit down a bit roughly, he fell down actually, and he managed to saw the two beings approaching, stealing some object from his backpack. He had a thermos, a tea thermos, metallic. He had some fork, and they took the axe as well. And then they walked to their device, to their craft. They disappeared on a hidden part. Probably there was a hatch or something like that, and they got in through the hatch. And some minutes later, still feeling bad, feeling aching, Luigi saw that craft disembedding, getting out of the rocks it was embedded in, and flying up into the sky with a sort of hissing sound, something like that. Luigi was amazed and terrified. He ran back to the nearest village through the wood, and the day after, he managed to find an old man who saw a sort of a red little balloon far distance getting out from the sky and landing somewhere on the mountains. And the young boy who was there with the cattle in an area not that far from the area where he saw the two little creatures and their craft. And he saw, without knowing the words of the old man, this young guy used exactly the same word. I saw a sort of reddish little balloon, little because seen in the distance, little balloon taken off from the mountains. Luigi returned back to the exact spot where he had seen the two strange creatures, to see if he could find the thermos, the fork, the spoon, and the axe that he had lost. Because he was not 100% sure that those beings brought those objects with them, but he never found them again. So it's really difficult to say, but it's even possible that since Luigi appeared to be, how we can say, very confused about what actually happened, since that poisonous gas or that ray of light, he's confused also about that aspect of the story. Since that moment, that ray of light, that poisonous gas, Luigi did not realize exactly what happened. And seen with today's UFO investigator eyes, this could lead us to think that probably he was abducted and by these beings and then brought back to the same place where he finally saw the last glimpse of the object leaving. But the fact that he didn't remember properly what happened in those times, he was confused. It could lead us to think that probably there is something more that will never be explained, because Luigi died many years later, convinced that what he saw came from another world. He also became a science fiction writer. He published some science fiction story, but that happened before he made his close encounter public to the press. So it's difficult to say if one thing influenced the other and what is exactly the truth. Really difficult, once again. Well, I hope you enjoyed the story, and I hope you enjoyed being with me with UFO Encounters in Italy. Once again, I will be happy to read your comments, suggestions, critics, and if you want to subscribe, click the little ring bell. Thank you, and I'll wait for you in the next episode. See you. Bye.